Well, hey everybody, what is going on? Today we are going to do part 2 of our Stern Defense 9mm adapter. This particular adapter allows you to use Glock magazines in a AR-15, standard AR-15 lower. In my case, in a pistol lower. The problem with this is that the bolt hold open function, which is what this does when that moves up and down, was not working anymore, and took it apart and kind of figured out that this thing here, which I eventually got from Stern Defense, had them send this out to me. Let you guys get a little look at that. That is what, that part that you saw sticking up, I think is what, when this moves here, this lever here is moved by the follower on the empty magazine, that would rotate underneath here and have this come up. And then this part here is what works with your, on your AR-15 lower, what works with the bolt catch. And in short, what that allows it to do is when you have an empty, when you fired the last round has gone through and you have an empty magazine, the bolt slides back and it catches and it holds the bolt back. So that was one of the big selling points of this thing. I had taken this thing out to the range and I wasn't getting any of the last round bolt hold opens anymore. So if you saw the previous video, we did take this thing apart. What I'll do today is we'll go ahead and take it apart, and I'll leave it on here and try and do it on camera as best I can. We've got 3 Torx heads on this side, and on this side we've got this one here, and there is also one that is down in through here, and that is kind of a little bit smaller one. So let's go ahead and get this thing apart. First thing we'll do is we'll take off our ejector. So we've got our 3 screws out here, our 2 over here, and what we'll be able, I've loosened this up a little bit, and what we'll be able to do is just go ahead and pull this apart. I don't want it to go flying. It clicks in, has a positive click in. So we can see here we have just kind of locator pins. So we've got that. We've got it all apart now, and what we have is, we'll call this maybe, I guess, the pivot arm. This will be the bolt catch actuator, and this is what they called the rotating cam. And again, if you look, you can see the shiny spot here where this section has sheared off. Let's see if we can't move that around a little bit better. So this is what our part is supposed to look like. My question is this section right in through here, is this something that is a MEM part, so a metal injected molded part? I wouldn't think that it would be milled out or anything like that. I would think that it would be probably something like a MIM part, M-I-M. So the question is this, and this is what I was wondering before, is this section right here, is that kind of a fatal flaw? Is that something that over time will kind of be prone to shearing off? And what we'll do is we'll get this back into the adapter and I'll show you guys how that goes in. So here's the old part and we can see where it sheared away. So how does this thing go back together and how does it work? So you have again what we'll call the bolt hold open activator, I guess, and that slots down into here, and then we see that it'll move up and down in there like that. Your rotating cam will, especially in this state here, will only go in one way. You can't put it in backwards because of the protrusion here. Whoops, let me get that so you can see it. You can't put it in backwards because of the protrusion there. So that goes in like that. The way that this works is as the this kind of floats, your arm, your pivot arm here kind of floats, and it interacts, I think, with this. And as this is pushed up by the magazine follower, it will pivot. And I believe what it does is it pushes on there. I don't know if it comes down on this side. I don't think it, well, my hands are probably in the way. So I don't know if it pivots like that. Can you see here, there's definite like wear on there, and when I look at on this side, there's a little shiny spot here. So I don't know if this actually kind of goes in and rides in, and then once you take it out, it goes back. So what we'll do is but it's clever. It's a clever design, and we'll get it back in. So again, I don't know if if it's friction or if it kind of rides here. What I'll do is I will put the other half of this back together, and we'll go from there. So we'll just line up on our locator pins. We'll press it down in there, and now, just as a kind of a trial run, let's lift this up and see if that will come up. And it does. So again, that is it working. So it does work. Okay, so now that we have this thing back together, let's go ahead and test and make sure that it will go into our pistol lower. And if you recall, I do have the bullet button on here, and I need to depress this to be able to get the adapter inside. So it should go in. It clicked. Doesn't want to come out. And what we'll do is we'll make sure that it will come out freely. So we'll depress that, and that should allow us now to pull it out. So step one has worked. So let's go ahead and we'll put it back in. So again, it is in. I wanted to show you, I do have some dummy rounds. So these are just like a milled aluminum thing. It's not real ammunition. So it is a way to run stuff that is dimensionally the same through your firearm and make sure that it can cycle ammunition and can feed it reliably into the chamber, all that stuff. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead, we'll pop this in. So it clicks, and then the first thing we'll do too, we'll push here and we'll see if this should just pop out, which it does. Now, over here, we have the bolt catch. And so what we'll do is I'll rack the bolt back with nothing in there, and we'll see if it will catch. It shouldn't, because the follower on an empty magazine isn't in here, so it should not catch unless we are kind of pressing back down on this to make it catch. So what we'll do is we'll run this back, and it should just go back and forth, no problem. And then what we'll do is I'll run it back and I'll press on this and see if it will hold the bolt open while the adapter is inside. So first thing we'll do is it should, and I'll put you on this side so you guys can see, you should run it back and it should go forward. It shouldn't catch at all. So we have good clearance. The next thing that we're going to want to do is what I'm doing is I'm pushing down here on the bottom of the bolt catch, and then we will pull it back and it should catch, which it did. And then if we were to press here, it should send the bolt forward. So we'll test that to make sure that that still works. It's going to be a little loud, but it does. So the next thing that we want to do is we'll go ahead and we'll pull it back. Catches. We'll insert our magazine with our dummy rounds that are in there. A little dirty here. So you can see that the dummy round is right in there, at least I think you can. And then what we'll do is we'll press on the bolt release button or lever, and it should feed that round in. So we'll see if it does that. Looks like it does. So now we've made sure that the adapter will go in and kind of can hold the magazine, we'll eject it, so it's run those first couple of tests for us. It has fed a round in reliably. So what we'll do now is we will, I'm going to run the charging handle back and forth. There are 5 dummy rounds, a total of 5, that are inside the magazine. And on that 5th round, what we should see is that the bolt should hold itself back, because we'll have an empty magazine and the follower will have come up and pressed on that. So let's go ahead and do that. It may be a little loud, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so as you can see, it did hold open. If we were to take the magazine out, the bolt should remain open, and it should remain open until we do one of 2 actions. Either we will hit the paddle here, which will release the bolt, or we can use the charging handle here, which we'll do now. We'll pull it back, and that should go forward. So I think we have got it fixed for now. We will see whether or not this is going to be a permanent fix. Hopefully it will. Hopefully that little thing won't be a fatal flaw. All right, so down there, probably what I paced off is around 55, maybe 60 yards from the camera. So that's kind of what we're looking at. So again, what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna take a few shots and we'll kind of see where I'm at distance. Before I was probably maybe, 20 yards maybe out from where I was shooting. All right, here's something that's pretty interesting. At 50 yards, well, probably like 55, closer to 60 at this point, I was aiming here, and for the most part, I'm shooting up a little bit higher. So what I'm gonna do is I'll go back and I'll tape these up, I'll go back. I'm gonna lower my elevation a little bit and see if I just can't get into here. All right, guys, I have finished my range session. I think I shot about 50 rounds. Half of those were probably at around the 25 to 30 yard mark. The other half, I had pushed the target back to around probably 60 yards. I still need to bring the sight down a little bit, maybe another 2 or 3 inches to be able to get into that, that 4-inch area. So not much, just, a few clicks on the sight. And I am using the Holosun, I think it's the 510C, which gives you the 3 reticles. I really like that thing. So anyway, let's talk about the Stern Defense magazine adapter. How did it do? I thought it did well. It locked back every time. It fed reliably. It ejected reliably. I had 0 malfunctions with it. So stay tuned after this if you want to hear sort of the saga that I went through and kind of the repair stuff that I alluded to a little bit earlier in the video. I think this video is probably, with the explanation, is probably going to be around maybe, who knows, 30 minutes long or so. So again, if you're kind of done at this point, that's great. I was able to get the magazine adapter up and running again, and it's functioning like it should. We'll see sort of long term. So we know that right now we have 50 rounds on that new rotating cam, and we'll see how many we get. I'll make note if it ever doesn't lock back, and we'll see if that little piece that sticks up on there, we'll see if that thing shears off again. Hopefully it won't. All right, stay tuned for the saga. All right, guys, thanks for sticking with me till the end here. So let's talk about the saga that I had with, I guess we call it the customer service aspect of Stern Defense. Back in the first part of April, I had tried to call them numerous times. There was no voicemail and nobody ever picked up on the phone. The reason I did that was because I thought it would be easier to speak with a person and sort of explain the problems that I was having. That way everybody could be on the same page. When that didn't happen, I went ahead and contacted them, I believe on the 8th, which may have been a Thursday, through their contact site. I didn't screenshot any of that stuff. I didn't think I'd really have the need to do so. I didn't hear back from them, so that next week, I think I tried to call again, didn't get any response. I then sent out this email, which I will read and put it up here on the screen. But before I do that, the main reason that I'm doing any of this stuff at all is because on the first video, so on part 1, somebody from Stern Defense went over there and left this response. What they said was, I apologize for your experience. Per our email, we sent you a return label. We tried doing this multiple times. I'm unsure why you're not getting it. I had my team ship you out a rotating cam yesterday since the labels were not getting to you. We're available Monday through Friday,
9:30 to 5 via phone, and they give their number. We are unable on the weekends. Kind regards, Team Stern Defense. So I felt that that didn't really accurately portray the chain of events of what happened. I cannot imagine that they sent me out multiple emails because I was able to get responses from one person. Why wouldn't I then be able to get the return label that they're going to send me supposedly via email? What I had written to them, and I did this again on the 13th and the 29th, I sent them basically the same thing, and I started putting the dates that I was sending stuff in my emails to them through their site. And I wrote, I have the mag AD9 and the bolt catch is no longer working. I think the tab or nub that interacts with the lever has sheared off. When the follower pushes on the lever, there is no movement on the bolt catch. I can send in pics, or you can contact me with follow-up instructions on what the next step will be. To clarify, the part that I'm speaking about looks similar to a ping pong paddle. Thanks for your assistance in this matter. I have tried numerous times to call the listed number on your website. No one has ever answered, nor is the voicemail operational. And I sent my name, my email address, and my cell number as additional contact stuff if they wanted to do that. And again, I sent that on the 13th and the 29th. On May the 3rd, I got a response from Stern Defense. Now, in their response, nobody ever left their name, nobody ever left a contact number, anything like that for me to do, or a specific email, like, you know, John at Stern Defense or whatever. On May the 3rd, which is a Monday, I got an email that says, I apologize for the slow response. We've been shorthanded this week with stomach bug going around. It sounds like an issue with the rotating cam. What is your address? And I will send you a return label and have my team fix it for you. Best, Team Stern Defense. To which I wrote back to them on May the 4th, which was the next day, which was a Tuesday. I gave them my address and I said, thanks for your help in this matter. And again, with my name and information. So when a company will want you to send stuff back to them, they'll usually do it a couple of different ways. They'll either send you a physical label through the regular mail, maybe with a box, and you can put whatever it is that needs to go back to them and you can put it in there for them. Or they'll just send you something via email and you print it off and then you take it down to UPS or FedEx or whatever carrier they're gonna go through, and you just slap that label on a box and it gets shipped back off to them. Because they had asked for my address, specifically asked for that, I had thought, oh, it's probably likely that what they're gonna wanna do is they are going to send me a box with a pre-printed label. And I thought, well, I'll give them a couple of weeks because you know, they may be a little bit smaller company. They're not the same size as, you know, Midway USA or Brownells or anything like that. And I thought, especially with the virus stuff that's going around, it might take a couple of weeks to get to me. I was still checking my emails and still checking the inbox and the spam folder or the junk stuff. None of that stuff was showing up. So on May the 28th, now again, from the 4th to the 28th, as far as me waiting, that's me. I don't fault Stern Defense for any of that, and I don't have any issue with that. That was kind of what I felt was a good enough timeline to give them to get back with me. And again, it wasn't, I wasn't really getting antsy about the time, but I thought, oh, enough time has passed, so I better recontact them. So I sent them an email and said, RE May 4th, 2021 email. I have not yet received the return label so that I can send in the AD9. It appears that the rotating cam has a part that is sheared off and the bolt hold open no longer functions. If it would be easier to send me a new cam, I can install it myself, or I can print off the return label at home if you want to send that to me via email. Thanks for your assistance in that matter. And then I give them again my name and my contact information. On June the 1st, which was a Tuesday, now Monday was Memorial Day, so I felt they responded in time, but they responded with, we sent you a return label via UPS long back, would you please check your spam folder? So nothing again, no individual like, oh, you know, if you don't find that, give me an email at, you know, excuse me, at John at, you know, Team Stern Defense or whatever, and I will make sure that that's a priority, and we'll get on that for you. We'll make sure that that label gets out to you. I sent them on that same day, that Tuesday on June the 1st, I sent them an email and it said, I have been checking both inbox and spam folder daily and have not gotten the return label. And just, I gave them the same closing that they gave me. I just said, kind regards, and with my name. I waited a week and I did not receive anything in the spam mail. I did not receive anything in the regular inbox. So I guess these multiple return email label things that they're sending me just aren't coming through for whatever reason. So on June the 7th, which is a Monday, so approximately about a week later, I wrote back to them and said, I still have not received the return label. It is not in the regular inbox nor the spam folder. Kind regards, and my name. On June the 8th, the next day, because at this point I'm like, well, I'm just going to send them an email every day. And that's part of what we talked about in the first thing, if you go watch in part 1. And I said, I still have not received the return label via email. It is not in spam nor in the regular inbox. Please resend at your earliest convenience. And then I even said, if you would prefer to send a new rotating cam, I can install it myself. And I said, kind regards, with my information. So on June the 9th, which was a Wednesday, I got, hey, I'm not sure why you are not receiving the return label. I have asked my team to go ahead and just send you a rotating cam, and then they give me a UPS tracking number. So they sent that stuff out. That same day, I sent them a return email. I said, that sounds great. I don't know why it didn't show up. And I said, just in case you need the address again, and I give them my information. So again, let me cover up my info here. This is, I got the rotating cam, and that's the box that I got sent. And again, my only thing is, they did say that we sent this stuff out to you multiple times, which I don't know that they did, because if you kind of look at how our correspondence is going, they made it sound like, you know, they were really, you know, sending it, like they sent it out 4 or 5 times to me, as opposed to maybe once or twice. And again, I don't know, is the person that I was talking to, is that the same person who is in charge of sending out the return labels, or is it a different person? If it's the same person, I don't understand why I was able to get all of that person's emails, but yet all the multiple times of return labels that they sent to me, I never got. So again, I think maybe with that comment, there was a little bit of maybe rewriting history a little bit to make it sound like they were doing their best. From a purely customer service standpoint, I don't think they did as well as they could have. When it was made clear to them that I wasn't getting the stuff that they were sending, I would have liked to have actually had an actual person, a contact person. So even if it's their office email, or if it's, you know, call me at this, you know, let's set up a time to, you know, to talk on the phone and we'll get this thing resolved. But none of that stuff ever happened. And it seems like what they were intimating, and maybe this is just a misinterpretation on my part, but it seemed like they were kind of saying, hey, it's your fault. Look, dummy, we sent you this stuff and you can't even open up your email to get it. But again, if I kind of go back, and I'm going to repeat myself here for the last time, and then we're just going to kind of move on. Why was I able to get the response emails from, and again, I have no idea who this was. Nobody ever put their name or any type of contact info for me to say, oh, this is who I was dealing with, this is who I've been speaking to. None of that, which again, I think is poor customer service. To be fair, with Stern Defense, they did, it took a little bit of teeth pulling, but they did send out the part and I was able to fix it. Like we said earlier in this video, we'll have to see how it goes long term, and we'll have to see, is that little part gonna shear off again? Or will it, you know, just go and go and go and go? And I hope it goes and goes and goes. On part 1, I said I didn't know that I would, if I was gonna maybe buy something new, I didn't know if I would kind of go with Stern Defense. I'm still kind of, I would be iffy to buy something from them again. And again, it has to do for two reasons, really. One is that the product did fail. So when we look at buying something and spending our money on something, we want to ask ourselves some questions. We want to say, well, what is this thing designed to do? How well does it do it? Did it break? Did it, you know, all this type of stuff. And if the main selling point, one of the main selling points for me of the Stern Defense thing was that it has this last round bolt hold open, and that function failed. Will it fail again? I don't know. And looking at how the part is designed, and if it is a MIM part, which I'd mentioned earlier before, it may have a tendency to want to fail again. That may be a weak point in the design. So going forward, I will keep you guys informed, and if it happens again, I'll let you know. If it happens again, I think probably that would be it. I would let you guys know, but I don't know. I would probably ask them for another rotating cam and reinstall the new one, but I don't know that I would, I don't know that's something that I would want to have to continually do every few hundred rounds. But again, let's be clear, since I put the new part in, I did go 50 rounds with no problems, and as an adapter, it functioned flawlessly. And if I'll leave you guys with this. I did have to do some modifications to get this thing to work properly for me. I did have to take the ejector off and sand down and remove a couple of thousandths of that because I was getting some light primer strikes. All that is in some other videos, and you can see that too if you're interested. So, all right, guys, that is it. If you guys have any questions about my experience with the actual product, leave some comments and I'll try and get back with you as quick as I can. I generally try and answer everything. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time.